Alright, so I picked out some paper. And I'm just going to get started with cutting it. So, I picked florals this time. I just went through some of my favorite paper packs of florals. I have a lot of florals. Just took a few from each one. Some of these I had not used in a long time because I was hoarding them. But gotta use it eventually, don't you? These guys going. I like to cut these in this L-shaped forms. I like to cut the top part up. Use it for scraps, and that creates more uniform scrap sizes. Because when I find weirdly shaped scraps in my scrap box, then I lose all motivation to use them. Because I just don't see the potential in strangely shaped pieces. I thought about using the part of this as a postcard, but it would have been a bit sideways, I think. So that's nice anyways. I like the metallic on that. This one I'm going to cheat just a little bit because I don't want to cut the postcard part apart. I actually also cut that. Got a couple more regularly shaped pieces. This one's nice. It's like, this is from Pride and Prejudice with roses. I like, you know, in terms of the book itself, it's not my favorite book. But I respect it. And I know a lot of people who really love Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice in particular, so to be able to put that in my journal will be an honor. It's very nicely, like the font, the flowers and little coffee drips. It's very nice. Lovely. A slightly different shape of paper. I haven't had a journal that's these dimensions, I should say. So it's exciting to me to see this new shape kind of taking form. Now, what should I do here? Should I take the chandelier? What do I want to do? Like that? Doesn't include all of the black motif, but it includes a lot of it. So I'm going to trim off this white part and do it that way. Very cool. It's like kind of elegant, but like gothic looking almost. To trim it out. Actually, I have a lot of stuff I want to actually write about. I'd like to get this decorating done so I can move on to actually using the new journal. And I haven't filled out my fountain pens yet, and I may not just yet. I don't know. Take the banner on this one, I think. Love those little blue flowers. Cute. I love Argyle. Nice design. These flowers are so trippy to me because they look like they're supposed to look like drawings, but to me they look almost computer generated. Like there was a photograph of a flower and then they kind of like ran some kind of algorithm over it to make it look kind of like a drawing style, but it's too uncannily realistic to be like a drawing. It's very interesting to look at though. I feel like I have these vines so much in my journal. I think I have a smaller version of this paper pack in addition to the full size. So these papers show up a lot. And this vine design is one that I kind of keep coming back to because it's simple, the colors are nice. I like vines, what can I say? Who doesn't? Some of these are going to be too big, but that's okay. Just trim them down. So, let me know how many journals you filled in 2022 so far. I'm sure a lot of you have filled quite a lot of them very quickly. I know you guys, you are fast writers and you have a lot to say and a lot to get off your chest. I think that's really beautiful. So I'm filming this on Sunday. Had a good weekend. It's Olivia's birthday weekend actually. Her birthday was yesterday as I'm filming this. Should have mentioned that at the beginning, but go and wish her a happy birthday. It's going to be quite belated by the time this comes out, but you know what? Send it to her anyway. And yeah, it'll probably be 2 weeks old. So, but who doesn't like to get birthday wishes, you know, after your birthday? I think that's fun. Late birthday celebrations, but then it's like, oh, my birthday's not over yet. March was a long month. I had a lot of big plans for March. Ended up doing almost everything I set out to do, so I'm pretty proud of myself. 2022 is a long year. I've got a lot of stuff left to do, but you know, the year's off to a good start. I've mentioned it before, but as far as I'm concerned, the year starts in March. So, you know, can't complain about how anything has gone. And I'm really, happy. I think the way to go is here, get a little bit of the text and the flowers. No swirls, but you can't have everything. Okay. hopefully. And here comes the cat stretching on her way in, ready to cause all kinds of trouble. Or maybe not, maybe she's just passing through. It's rarely the case when, there she is. Oh, there's the little cat. She just needs to be the center of attention at all times. Can't be too mad. She's a very needy cat. Very needy. Always needs attention. But, you know, I like that about her. It's nicer than having one of those cats that just kind of sits in the corner and wants to be completely left alone. That's the last paper. So it's now time to decide the order I want to go in. That's the trick to get the cat away. Oh, yeah, she can go on the bed. Oh, yes, she can. Oh, ouch. Unpleasant. Okay, so I like to do a couple full spreads. I've been doing that for a while and still like it, so I'm still going to keep doing it. So let's see how we can arrange these. These two are kind of made for each other, so that's an obvious one. And then let's see about these are kind of nice together, right? Like we got the text theme going, or is it too texty? I'll also do these two. Kind of leaning towards this. I'm gonna go with it. Oh no, we don't. We don't. And all right, so I'll take care of those, and then let's just look at the ordering of the other ones. You'll start with the butterflies. We can go into this more beige, pink, beige, pink, beige, pink, and beige. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, something's not right about that. I need to do 3, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. That one. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that should do it. Seems good to me. And then we want this to be left, not right. So. Actually open the journal with some paper down. That could be interesting. Think about it. Cut around the corners though. Are you guys still having limitations from the pandemic? Because where I live, we're pretty much done. Things are pretty much back to normal for the most part. I'm wondering if you guys are experiencing that. It feels so distant, even though we had a mask mandate for a very long time, all the way up until the beginning of March, really, is when the mask mandate finally went away where I live. And I thought we were going to have it forever. I thought this was really the way that people wanted to do things. Because, you know, even with COVID maybe subsiding a bit, you still get other diseases like the flu and things. And maybe it's better to just wear masks in public all the time. It seemed like a lot of people where I live really, really wanted that. A lot of people were very upset when the mandate lifted. And so... you know, it was really interesting to see that come up. Me personally, you know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the best thing to do is, but my personal preference is not to live public life in masks. Especially not, I can understand if you like have a cold or something or any sickness and you have to go out and do something like, yeah, I think we should adopt the practice of wearing masks when we have symptoms for anything. Because it's courteous, you know, not to go and infect people. Where I live, actually, there has been historically a culture very much of infecting people and being really selfish and careless with yourself when you're sick. It's been my experience. And so I think this mask thing is a compromise because people don't like being told to stay home when they're sick for some reason. So if people insist on going out and running themselves ragged, you know, even when they don't have to, which is true in a lot of cases where I live, people have plenty of sick days. They just don't want to take any. And, instead of that, you could at least wear a mask and then you have some kind of responsibility. So I'll put it here, I guess, is where I'll start. All right, we're doing this. So I think the mask could be good for that, but just in terms of everybody having to wear one was not my favorite thing because you end up with, you can get into a situation of, at least where I live, it's a very diverse area, and a lot of people have accents. So, you know, in public, if you're trying to talk to someone, it's almost impossible to have communication with masks because you can't look at the person's lips and try to gather what they're saying. It muffles your voice significantly, and you know, with an accent or maybe with English not being the first language, you know, it might take a little more cognitive effort and context clues that would normally be used to understand each other on both ends. So not having that is really a bummer. And I'm glad that I won't have to deal with that anymore. I also worried about how it might affect kids because kids are supposed to be not only learning language processing, which is going to be much more difficult to do for kids as well. When adults, you can't see how their mouths are moving or anything like that. Your teacher, you can't lip read them. For little kids, that could be developmentally harmful. And just the social cues that you learn from people's faces. Like when you block off the half someone's face, yeah, you can see their eyes, and people, you know, very pro-mask people tended to say that, like, oh, eyes are so expressive. I mean, yeah, but you're exaggerating it a lot because the mouth is also, and nose, like, even, are very important areas of the face for facial expressions. So it kind of annoyed me that was a little disingenuous, how people were like, no, you can totally understand people with the mask on. There's never any problems. It's like, okay, we know that's not true, so why don't you just admit that you know, it's a trade-off. Some people are going to think that it's worth it, and that's valid. Like, stand by that, but don't pretend that there aren't significant downsides to wearing a mask every time you're out in public, especially for little kids. I'm really interested to see how, like, morbidly interested to see how the pandemic affects the generation of kids that were in, like, preschool at the time. Because or I guess preschool through like first grade. It's like a 2-year thing, at least where I live, and I think in a lot of places remote school was like 2 years of it. And I know very bright kids who struggled significantly with online remote learning, not because they're, you know, it's just it's a very easy environment to check out of. I can attest to that with remote work sometimes. It can be really hard to focus. And yeah. So I think for little kids especially, that can be challenging. They have shorter attention spans already, and then you have... So that plus all the developmental issues that may have taken place over time. Those are a little concerning to me. But I'm glad it's back to normal. It's nice to be able to go to the grocery store and just go to the grocery store, you know? It's not like a thing where you have to like have this stifling mask. And I don't have very good eyesight. I'm very nearsighted. Not very, like I'm not legally blind or anything, but it's a challenge for me to see distance without glasses or contacts. And so, you know, even something as simple as going to the grocery store, which should be a very, very basic errand, although nothing where I live is really a basic errand for a lot of reasons, but it should just be, you know, you run in, you go out. It's not what's a grocery store run, it's not a production. But with the mask and the glasses, it's like Fog City, and that was never a problem that was addressed. Or again, you know, people would joke about it, but if you ever express like actual frustration with the fact that you can't see and you're extremely uncomfortable, because masks are very uncomfortable, you know, I'm not allowed to really say that where I live anyways. That was not the prevailing opinion, and you're seen as wanting to kill old people if you express frustration at that. Never mind, a lot of the people concerned about it tend to be on the older side themselves. I don't know why I'm rambling about masks. This is what happens when I just have time to kill while I'm filling up the papers. But that was a good part of March for me, was the masks coming off. And for April, looking forward to it. Warmer weather definitely should be nice. I've been wanting to get out in nature a bit, and yeah, definitely wanting to do that. Trying to figure out what that's going to look like this year. Got some travel plans probably for this summer. Be fun. And almost too big. We just go to the beach every summer. It's a fun trip. And yeah, the first year we went, I think we did go in 2020 to the beach because, you know, it's outdoors. Everybody's like, outdoors is great. But there was just a lot going on. The boardwalk of our beach required masking, and that made sense because there were a ton of people there. So there was a ton of people there in the summer, so that was bad enough. But then a lot of people were just ignoring the regulations entirely. So it's like we're like the only people on here actually following them. How's that fair? So that was a little frustrating. But the beach itself, you could do whatever you want. And it was really, really nice. I love the beach. We actually don't spend that much time at the beach when we go because it's only half the day. I think, you know, laying in the sun, which is the main beach activity to do, and even like splashing around in the salt water, all that stuff is like it's fun for a while, but after like an hour or two, it's kind of like, okay, let's do something else type thing. So we do a lot of other traditions on the way back. We do certain shopping centers and restaurants, and last time we went to this really cool used bookstore with like rare books. It was so interesting. It was like something out of a Harry Potter movie. Very cool. And so that was awesome. So that was really fun. I like that. Oh, I left my drink in the other room. I'm gonna go grab it. So that's fun for the summer, but for April itself, you know, do my camping trip in April. I did it in June last year, but I think for a lot of reasons that's just not going to work out this year. Like June is starting to look a little bit full, and I don't know. I'm of two minds about that. What do you guys think? Do you think that, like, and I know a lot of people in the community are also introverts, so let me ask you guys for advice. If you had a busy month, would you want to do something like a camping trip then to kind of recharge and get away from everything? Or is that too much, you know, like, okay, we already have a lot of social stuff happening this month, and now I've got to plan a camping trip and like set up a tent, blah, blah, blah. It's too much work. I just want to be like chilling when I'm not there, you know, when I'm not with people and not making more complications for myself. I have a tendency to overcomplicate my life very much, so I'm leaning towards maybe not doing it that month. Maybe I'll do it earlier, because why not, you know? So could be fun. Could be a good prep for busier months ahead. It's just an endless list of to-dos, you know? There's just always things to do, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys experience that as well, but it just seems like with life, even if, okay, let's say I don't complicate my life, like things just kind of keep coming up to do. Like I need to do my taxes. I haven't done that yet. Things like that. It's like do your taxes, do your you know, cleaning. Like there's some spring type, I mean, well, it's not really yet. I usually switch out my wardrobe from spring to winter. I guess that's me complicating my life, but I think that's pretty common for some people to do. Yeah, my wardrobe is, you know, pretty big. I haven't grown since middle school too much, so I just have all these clothes, and so changing those out is something to remember. Also doctor's appointments I need to make. My cat needs to go to the vet. Forgot about that. It's just, yeah, it's just a lot of stuff, to be honest. And so yeah, it just is. And so that's kind of where I get into just feeling a little bit overwhelmed with everything, just a long to-do list, and then I kind of avoid doing any of it. And that's not a long-term solution. And then just the day-to-day of like, and I kind of stopped cooking, which helped a lot, but you know, even without that, things get dirty and messy and need to be cleaned constantly. And that could also just be me too. Like I make a lot of messes. My personality, right? Like even journaling, I get little paper scraps everywhere, and that stuff really adds up over time because I'm always doing stuff like this. It really does add up. Started doing most of my shopping through Amazon to try to save the trouble of driving all the way to the store and having to remember everything. It's just much more convenient. But that creates, you know, that when you open the packaging, there's little pieces that get everywhere, and there's just like always like little pieces all over the floor. So I feel like I'm always pushing this boulder up the hill of not being messy, and yeah, it's just me here, so it should be that messy. Yet kind of is. But it's exciting. It's good times. And Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not very interesting today. I'm kind of just enjoying the paper. This is why I wanted to kind of do one decorate session for video per month, because it's nice to put out the videos and just have a casual vibe half the time, but I like doing my decorating kind of without the cameras rolling a lot of the time. Do you guys have any Easter plans? Do you guys celebrate Easter? I do not have any. I was thinking about seeing family, but it's just, with everything going on this year, it's just like probably not going to be the best idea to do all that. This looks wrong. I can do it like this. And just, again, more overcomplicating. Like, there's going to be, you know, you never know what tomorrow brings, but that's not a good attitude to have, because then you'll just do everything and burn yourself out. So, like, presumably, you know, barring any unforeseen circumstances, there's going to be a lot more Easters in the future. And, yeah, might need to kind of ration out my energy. Because, well, one thing that's going to happen is I'm going to move. I feel like everybody on YouTube is constantly moving. It's probably just because I watch a lot of YouTube. So it's like confirmation bias, because maybe 2 YouTubers are moving that I follow at any given time. So it seems like someone's always moving, but really I just watch a lot of YouTubers. But yeah, moving is really stressful. Last time I moved, I had family in the area to help. This time I don't. And I will be hiring movers, which is a first. I don't trust movers. I don't. My family has had bad experiences with movers in the past. They're very expensive, and they tend to not care too much about the job. In our experience, now, it may be fine this time around. You know, I've had some good experiences with things lately, so maybe it'll be great, but you know, who knows. But that's a big thing, you know. It's intimidating thinking about packing, and you know, I'm an accumulator. I accumulate a lot of things. I like things. I'm not ashamed of that. I don't think that's inherently a bad thing to like items. If you know, prioritize items over people, that's where you run into issues. But liking items isn't an issue in and of itself, except when it comes time to move. And the thought of packing up is just very daunting, and that anxiety, it's not anytime super soon, it's not like tomorrow, but it's definitely like this year. And so that thought is really making me nervous. Alright, and there we have our first pages done, decorated with large scrapbook paper. I think that came out pretty well. And let's look at the other big spread here. Oh, that's a nice one. Here we are. I love that. That's awesome. Got these little guys here. Alright, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.